Hi, this is Tony Zito and Paul Tusello. Paul's in the Colleyville, Texas area. And what we're going to talk about today is how to buy a home right. So, Paul, why don't we just jump right into it and give some great tips on how to buy a home right?
Well, Tony, it's good to be with you. I appreciate it. And yeah, I think that's what we need to talk about because, as you know, the U.S. has a big real estate problem right now, right? I mean,
right.
We've got REOs and short sales in many different parts of the country. And the problem is it's continuing to lower values in those areas. And all this is because of the great big bubble effect that was created when our mortgage industry manufactured buyers, created buyers out of thin air who, looking in hindsight, shouldn't have had loans, right?
Right.
So that's the problem. But in North Texas, according to the experts, and I agree, we didn't have a bubble. So here's my question. Why are sellers continuing to be upside down in North Texas? That's the question. Why is it happening here when there's no bubble? And what we've learned is this. People over the years in North Texas haven't learned how to buy right. They buy, but you've got to buy right in North Texas. This is a different animal here. You've got to do this right or you end up upside down. That means you've got to invest some time to protect your investment, homes. And that's a necessity anymore because people's retirement accounts aren't what they were 4 years ago, right?
Correct.
So, Tony, the question people ask, well, what does that mean, buy right? Well, here's what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean buying a home at tax value. It doesn't mean buying it at market value. It doesn't mean buying it at emotional value or owner's value. It means buying it at a true value. And that takes a lot of things into account. It takes into account the floor plan for the home, the lot size for the home, the location of the master bedroom for the home. It's a little bit more complicated here in North Texas if you're going to protect your investment.
Well, Paul, isn't that how people have traditionally bought homes, though?
Well, I mean, they're buying them, Tony, but the problem is I think they're taught to use the approach of dollar per foot. You've heard that term, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Everybody has. And
right.
I have to tell you, there's a lot of problems with that, and it causes a lot of issues. And I'll tell you, I won't buy a home using the dollar per foot method. Is that okay to say?
Sure. So, okay. So if you don't want to use a dollar per foot, then what approach would you use?
Well, let's talk about what's wrong with the dollar per foot. Okay. Again, we got to look at North Texas. There's a huge caveat here. The problem is, in North Texas, you've always had a bunch of land. Where you've got a bunch of land, you've got a bunch of builders. Where you got a bunch of builders, you have a bunch of supply. What does supply do to prices, Tony? Holds them in check, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Holds it in check. So you got to be real careful because when you use the dollar per foot approach in an area with a lot of supply, it leaves out adjusting for important things like size, location, updates, those types of things. All that has to be taken into account. Otherwise, you end up in a problem. You know, the California market at one time had a lot of appreciation, Tony. And when you buy a home and make a mistake in California at that time, the appreciation would take care of it would cover up your mistake. Right. That doesn't happen in most instances here in North Texas. You can end up upside down real quick and lose money when you go to sell. And if you want to sell well here in Texas, North Texas, you've got to buy well, if that makes sense.
Sure it does. So, Paul, what would be a solution, to this real problem that you're, describing? Would it be maybe just hiring an appraiser, to get an appraisal done?
Yeah, that's a valid question, and a lot of people ask that question. And how's that doing for us so far, Tony?
I guess nothing. We're doing is working right now, right?
How's our system? You know what? Those men and women are important to the process. I'm not saying that they are, but they have one piece of a 4-piece puzzle to determining value. They crunch numbers and they do it well. But you know what? It's only one piece. What they don't do is they don't listen to buyers and what buyers are wanting in terms of floor plan, in terms of design. They miss the buyer's hot buttons, if you will. They don't study expired listings, what's not selling, and the cause of what's not selling. They don't do absorption tables and study the active listings. Again, this is a different place. You've got to do that here to protect your investment and buy right at true value. They can give you market value, but they can't necessarily give you true value.
I agree with that.
And you said, well, what's the solution, right? Well, I've said it probably 5 times. You've got to know not just market value, you've got to know true value. So you know what? Watch the video again. That's what I would say. Call the Tucello team, and we'll help people buy Colleyville homes correctly and protect their investments here in Colleyville. And what we want to help people do is buy well so they can sell well. Is that fair?
Yeah, and I think one of the things that shouldn't be overlooked here, and as people are watching this video and watch it again, one of the key things that you said, Paul, is that you work with a lot of sellers, and more particularly expired sellers. So if somebody's wanting to buy a home, it would seem to me that one of the pieces of information that they'd want to get from you guys, from your team, is what things to look out for so that their house, when they get ready to sell it, doesn't go through the same process that a lot of your customers that you are successful in helping get sold, the expired listings.
Yeah.
So, Paul, give us your contact information so people can contact you and discuss with you on how to buy right in Colleyville.
Yep. And let me just piggyback on one thing, Tony. Over the years, we've met with 2,000 owners of homes that didn't sell. Expired listings. I've taken about 800 of those, Tony, sold 600 to 700 of those. So we've learned what keeps homes from selling and the financial penalty that goes along with that flaw that the sellers now have to reduce their home. So that's what we prevent. And you know what happens when you throw all those things together for true value? You have a family that loves their home, enjoys their home, will have maximum potential for appreciation, and can sell well because they bought well. So our contact information, the TucelloTeam.com, TOS like Sam, ELLO team.com, and you'll see all that at the bottom of the video. Our number is 817-656-3519.
Well, Paul, thanks. Always good talking to you. You've always got great information, and I would say just be watching out for more good videos with more information about buying or selling a home in the Colleyville area. Thanks so much, Paul. Have a great day.
Thank you, Tony.